What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 1 of the Do It With podcast. Now, in this podcast, I'm kind of going to be talking about several different things. It's not just going to be in the rebrand video, I said, Do It With was doing it with God. It's not going to be about that. It's going to be really whatever I want to talk about, to be honest. Like right now, actually, this is something that I am going to talk about a little bit more towards the end, but this is a live podcast right now. We're recording it live on Twitch to my 2 viewers. You're missing out. So, but yeah, this is a live podcast, and we're like I said, we're doing it live and on Twitch at DoItWith1523, and that's kind of one of the things I want to talk about. We'll just jump straight into the YouTube aspect. What's changing on the channel before we get into kind of where I was and where I have been. The things that I've been doing is nothing's really changing on the channel. We're going to add some new things. We're going to add the sermons like I talked about in the rebrand video, and we're going to talk about some fun new things. We've got our first cooking video out already. We've got the Do It With podcast that's going to be out. Now, not every single one of them is going to be live, but I just figured that today would be a good day to do it live, especially if we do have any questions for anybody who might join the chat. Not that there's going to be many, but I thought it would be fun to do, and it also makes me more pressure, and the mic records the audio and the camera records the video instead of me having to do it different ways. But anyway, that's kind of the things that are going to be happening on the YouTube channel. We're going to keep the normal kind of content that I have typically. Same thing with the streams, like the streams other than, maybe occasionally the Do It With stream, the Do It With podcast stream, which I'll do maybe once a month. I think that would be fun to do. Once a month we do a live podcast where we get Q&As and different kinds of things of that nature. But realistically, the podcast is just going to be me talking about whatever. It'll also include rambles from streams, which I think will be a fun little addition to. I have a stream that I did either earlier today or yesterday where I talked about my story about finding a Keurig in the Walmart parking lot, or just different kind of things. That those are one of the things you'll actually see. It'll look like this. Hold on. Holding. It'll look like this when I'm streaming, and we got a little bit less of a good camera up here. The podcast is mostly being recorded on my phone, but that's what it'll look like if I'm streaming, and this is what it'll look like for the podcast. So I'm excited. I've really worked hard on this rebrand, is what I keep calling it. You'll see. I'll kind of show you the things, just because why not? This is one of the cool things about doing it live and doing it in this program, is I can kind of show you the things that I do. Like right now, technically I'm streaming my Xbox, which is why you can hear the music in the background, which is this song right here. If you want to look at it, it's just a lo-fi beat. But then we got our stream starting soon. I've really taken a lot of time to try to kind of get these things really nailed, because that's one thing that I feel like all of my other videos lacked, was something like this, where we can kind of switch between, our talking and our gaming, and then now, boom, podcast. Sorry. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things I've been wanting to talk about and really wanted to explain, is just nothing's changing. I'm going to try to do new content, and who knows how long this actually lasts. Like, to be honest, I said I was back several different times. Every time nothing has happened. I mean, like, you can literally go back and look at the very first rebrand video where I was macking for you zombies, and I went to Chef Mac, and then didn't post anything until the Maccast, and then nothing came out again. So it's been a rough time for me of just posting. And one thing that I do find lackluster, or not lackluster, that's not the right word, I don't enjoy the editing. And that's something I'm hoping to be able to do a little bit more of, is now that I have. So what you guys can't see, and I'm not going to really show it because my iPhone cord is a little bit finicky, is I've got my monitor playing my Xbox here. I've got a TV here that I'm reading my script off of, and none of this is on my script, quite literally. And then over here is my computer that is running all the software. But what I can do now that I have all the things to do it, is stream me editing. And I think that would be fun. I enjoy talking and chatting. So like, that's one of the things that I love about being able to live stream, is, back in the 2020s when I was relatively big and would get 6 or 7 viewers, relatively big, um, big head. I enjoyed having the conversations with the people on this, so that's one of the things why I like live streaming. If you see me looking over here, I'm looking at the chat. Again, there's nobody in there, so you're not missing out much. But anyway, I kind of wanted to talk about what this episode, what is the purpose of the rebrand? And the purpose, I kind of mentioned it a little bit in the rebrand itself, was the idea of doing it with God. And I kind of want to clarify that as I'm not gonna push my religion on anybody. That's kind of like a big thing. I'm not gonna try. I will talk about it and I will be open with it and I'll be honest with it and I'm happy to have conversations with it. But if you don't believe what I believe, that's totally fine. You have the right to do whatever you want to do. But the do it with is more a reminder to me of do it with God. That's really the entire purpose of the rebrand, is just to remind me of what I'm really trying to do here and why I'm really trying to do what I'm doing. And I kind of want to get into the story. I mentioned it a little bit in the baptism video. Again, I know it's a poor quality video, but literally the people that I was recording it were recording it on potatoes. I do not understand how the video turned out that poor quality, but I kind of want to explain, my story with Jesus is what I call it. And I said I wanted to read you an essay that I wrote, but I'm not going to. The story of Jesus is, he bobbed and weaved mostly throughout my life up until I was 24, which was only a year ago. It was a very hit or miss relationship. Like, looking back on it, I never truly was like, Jesus is the Lord. And I got baptized when I was 17, but again, I didn't really believe what I was saying when I got baptized. I think that was one of my big faults, is that I said it, but I didn't mean it, if that makes any sense. When I got baptized when I was 17, it was in front of a huge church, and you're sitting up there with a microphone in your face. And again, I was 17. I had done YouTube and stuff occasionally, but it was very different and very confusing. And you say, I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and then you get dunked. And I was like, yeah, I guess. I even when I think back to when they were asked who are you? Who's Hunter Martin? When did you come to find Jesus? Is I didn't have an answer. Now I do, and I kind of want to get into that. So we will go kind of into where my life has been since episode 1 of the Madcast. It's probably the most recent thing that I did, that I kind of gave exposition about my life. So right after that was recorded in August of 2020. Not long after that, me and my wife had started talking and dating. And we went on our first date and we spent 4 hours together. And we kind of both admit it now. We kind of both knew, in all honesty, me and her are probably going to spend the rest of our life together. And we kind of knew that. We kind of knew where we were going. So that was one of the reasons that I kind of didn't do a lot after I recorded that, is because I was putting a lot of time and effort into this relationship, because you got to, especially when you're starting new. And I had the feelings that I felt about her. It's kind of hard to get to, but I have a notebook, or it's a yearbook actually. Well, I'll grab it. So this is a yearbook that it was my 8th grade yearbook. And I don't know why I picked this book, but at the back of this book, I have a little thing that says September 23rd, 2020. Remember the date. Past Hunter. P.S. Tell me if you've made the right choice. And you can see here each year that I have gone through, with my most recent one being this past September 23rd, which was, again, to the reason I say did I make the right choice is because did I make the right choice to drop out of college and go to culinary school? And I'm not going to tell you if I think I did or not, but I will say this: 9/25/2022. So 2 years after I dropped out of high school, I said, P.S. Kayla is my wife. If you ever read this, I love you. When I'm writing this, I haven't told you. So we started dating in August, and we kind of, again, retrospectively, we both kind of knew that we wanted to get married. So I proposed to her that December, secretly, not privately. We kind of knew how it would look, coming, we kind of knew how it would look. So we did it privately, and we started making our plans, and we settled on a date and settled on a venue, and just kind of things that like we could keep public. And then once I actually got the ring, which was another whole ordeal, I proposed to her with a ring that I bought from my grandma's souvenir shop that she works at in North Carolina. Though it was a nice ring. It's Ellie's Gifts. If you're ever in Emerald Isle, North Carolina, recommend going there. They had a really nice ring, so I bought it, proposed to her with that, and then she really wanted her grandmother's ring. So I talked to her dad, and we ended up being able to get that from him with his blessing and all of that. And I proposed again in March, publicly this time, and then we went in May of 2023, and we ended up, just because of my apartment complex and her coming to live with me, we ended up getting married. And then that's when, right around then, is when I'm like, all right, I'm trying to get back into YouTube. I'm like, all right, we're married, and she was working at Camp Lake Stevens, and I was working there, but she was a program staff and she had to stay for the whole summer. So I was like, all right, we're going to get back into YouTube. And then right after I made The Chef is Back in the Kitchen, we moved. And this is kind of where my life didn't fall apart. That's not the right word, but I started to not enjoy cooking anymore. And again, you go into that yearbook and you'll see that I said for 2023 is like, I'm really not sure if I made the right decision. And, I mentioned, going into this new job that I was going in, the sorority house, it was just, it was not what I was expecting, not what I was hoping for. We had some trouble employees that were there that it was like they were doing good, but they were causing drama, and I wasn't a huge fan of the drama. So basically, right after I made The Chef is Back in the Kitchen, we moved into a different place, and then we had our public ceremony, which was on the 11th of November, 2023. And then right after that, the pipe burst in the house that we were living in. And then right after that, I got a job in Nashville. And that was something we'd always wanted to do. We were both kind of like, let's get out of Oxford. We want to get away. There's too much baggage in Oxford for not only me, but her, and, the things that she's went through in her past. And most of my family is in Oxford, maternal side. And we're kind of like, we need to get away. So I was immediately like, I want to take this job. And, the funny thing is, because we're talking about my story with Jesus, somebody told us, hey, pray on it. And if you wake up in the morning still feeling good about it, take the job. And I laughed it off. I was like, no. I worked hard to do this. I got offered this job without the help of my mom, without being Scooby's little brother or anything. So we didn't do that. And I kind of look back at that as like, I wish that I did, and maybe I wouldn't have went, because I think that going there has really hurt financially, because we made 2 moves in a year, both of which were out of state, and that's something that we're still recovering from. But I kind of wish that we didn't do that. But then again, if we didn't, I don't think that I would be in that situation that I was in when I finally accepted Jesus, and I wouldn't trade that for anything, to be honest. So So essentially, we go up to Nashville, and this camp. It's a nice kitchen, but it's just like the food is so bad. I'm talking like frozen chicken breasts that are already cooked, that they're steaming back, and they're boiling noodles and putting nacho cheese on it. It was gross. So I went in there, and of course, like, I'm cooking things from scratch, so everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is so good," and boosted my ego up really good. They would have thought I was Gordon Ramsay, but so I'm there, and everything's going good. And for the first month or so that we're there, we were only there for 6 months. For the first month or so that we're there, my wife is working at a job that she hates, and she gets not depressed, but just really agitated, and she ends up finding a job that she likes. Well, when she finds a job that she likes, I end up realizing that this is not the place for me. There's another place that I will equate it to here in a little bit, but the people were just snakes, didn't really know what they were talking about. And then, I'll admit it. I'm young. Maybe I'm at fault too. I accept my faults. I could have been a better communicator and all of that. But these people were just, they treated me like crap. And to be honest, they took, and I have another corroborator with this too. But I'm not going to name names. This lady, she texted me not too long ago and was just like, "Yeah, you were right. Like, basically everything that I said was going to happen happened. People chose sides, and there was a certain couple of people that had worked together at previous places that just clicked together, and it was them against everybody else for a while. And I remember being sat down. The maintenance guy, who had only been there for maybe 6 months, came into my office the day that he was leaving, and I was like, "Oh man, I really liked you. I'm sorry that you're leaving." And he said, "Man, it's all good. I really liked you too." I always get, me and the maintenance guy, we got to be apart. We got to be clicked wherever we're at, because it's like, if you're not, then the kitchen doesn't do good, because if something goes wrong and the maintenance guy doesn't like you, he's not going to fix it. So me and him were pretty tight, and he came in and he was like, "Man, like, don't let this place beat you up. It's like, they're gonna do it, like." And he said, I'll never forget what he said. He looked me in the eyes and he said, "The one person who wasn't here at my going away party, that's the person you got to look out for." And sure enough, that's the one that one of the big reasons why I left is that one person. So I'm making all of these plans to move away, and I'm really depressed. I'm working long hours. I'm not spending time with my wife. Me and her's relationship it wasn't rocky, but it was just, we were arguing, and we were just not seeing each other a lot, and that was hurting me. And I had a lot of resentment and self-hatred for myself for putting us in this situation, because I'm the one who got offered the job. I'm the one who made the decision that we should move. I'm the one, and I was putting a lot of the blame on me, and it really, really started to affect my mental health. And trigger warning for those who may not care, or not care, that's not the right word, who may have had these thoughts or are having these thoughts. And just know, if you are having these thoughts, email me, chefmac1523@gmail.com, or macandforyouzombies@gmail.com. Like, email me. I'm happy to have a conversation with you, and like I'll really talk, we'll really talk, and I'll really listen. So but I was having suicidal thoughts, and I always say, like, I don't think that I ever would have committed suicide, but I also think that had my turning point, my encounter with Jesus not happened, I don't know what would have happened. So anyways, I'm really down and dirty and just depressed, and we're already making these plans to move back to Oxford, and basically already got an apartment lined up, and now my wife already had a job lined up. Now it's just time for me to find a job. So one day I'm sitting there with an interview, and it's a phone call interview. It's not even a Zoom interview. It's a phone call interview. And I put on my button-up shirt, a tie, and my blazer, my nice pants, my nice shoes, just to build that confidence. And something my dad always said, like, never miss an opportunity to wear your dress blues. And, funny enough, like, I was actually about to record this episode of the podcast, and I'm just kind of sitting there looking in the camera, and I'm like, oh, I'm wearing just a plain hoodie. It's like, you know what, like, just dress up a little bit. Like, you don't even have to be nice. This is just a simple t-shirt, man. It just looks better than that. It's also my sleep hoodie. Like, literally, it's the hoodie that I wear like after I take it out of the shower and I'm like lounging around in the house, my PJs. um, so I get dressed and I kill the phone interview. Well, no, let me back up. I get dressed and I'm I'm sitting in our guest room, which is the same place as my desk, the same desk that I'm sitting at right now. With the same, literally everything is the same except this TV that I'm staring at right here is not here. I've still got my computer and my monitor that I'm playing games on, and we got a guest room and we got a chair, and there's not a big TV in there like there is in here. And I don't need to go into all these details, but I'm gonna. Um, but I'm sitting at my desk and I'm just like, I kind of want to lay down. So I get on the bed and I lay down, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just kind of listening to some music, trying to hype myself up, but I can't because I keep crying because I'm home alone. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I feel like a failure because I'm having to go back home, with family, and just worried that I'm not going to get a job and I'm going to have to go back and work for my mom at this point. And it's just like I'm really beating myself up again. So I'm crying. Again, the suicidal thoughts are running. Maybe it's better if I'm just not here. Like literally those are the things I'm thinking of. So I decide finally that I'm going to sit up on the I decide finally, it's like, all right, we got to do something. So I sit on the edge of the bed, and directly across from me, I wish I had a picture of it, but I don't think I do, is this weird closet. It's two doors on either side. So it's like two doors here and then a gap of drywall here, but the closet goes in, and it's one big closet, but two separate like double doors. It's like the whole wall is the closet, except for this one little gap of drywall. And I remember it. I'm staring straight at the drywall, like just like I'm staring at this camera. I'm staring straight at the drywall. I'm crying and I'm panicking, and I finally just decide, like, God has been in my life, but like I never really was like about it, if that makes sense. Like, so I finally just decide, like, I was just like, I just gotta pray. So I'm bawling at this point, and honestly, funny story too is like I've told this story so many times now that I don't cry as much as I used to, but I remember filming this episode last year, just about a year ago, right when I did the rebrand. Literally right when I did the rebrand, which was, again, probably right in the beginning of January of 2025. And I couldn't get through the story, but I've recorded this story so many times, and I had to tell it so many times for the baptism video, um, that I'm kind of able to get through without crying again. Um, but I just look up at the ceiling, literally go like this. I'm just, God, I need to know everything's going to be okay. That's it. That's all I said. And I kind of look back down again. I'm staring straight at this. I'm staring directly at this just piece of plywood, not plywood, drywall. And in my head, it's like it comes from like almost comes from my chest. It's like overwhelming joy comes out of my chest, and I hear the words, "It will." I still get shivers to this day. It's just, "It will." That's all that he said. And I fall backwards on the bed. I'm still crying, but I'm like, I got the biggest smile on my face. I mean, I'm talking like the biggest smile on my face. Like, you would have thought I was bipolar. I like that. Switched up. Completely switched from what I was literally 2 seconds ago. And I fall back on the bed, and it's just like, no doubt in my mind. It's like everything is going to be okay. Like moving back to Oxford, I'm going to get this job. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to come back. We're going to live great lives. And I call this guy. I'm not going to say the company that he works for, but it's a same, not the same company I work for now, but similar, doing food for frats and sororities. And this man, we hit it off. And honestly, what to me wasn't the same person that I met in person, but that's another point later. But we hit it off and like so good that he's like, all right, I'm gonna get you the second interview tomorrow. Get the second interview, and then that guy's like literally like, hey, like, and I'm gonna try to get it before she. So like so I take the one interview, then the next day I take the next interview, and then by the end of that day, the second day, I have my third phone interview, and then like 2 days later, I have an offer. And it was just like, whoa. So we get back and we move to Oxford, and it takes us a couple of months to get settled, and we finally go back to church. And this is the moment one I decided I wanted to be baptized, because it was like, holy crap, I'm actually like following what God wants me to do. Is we go to church, and the very first sermon series that we are a part of like of all the like literally we moved back in like middle of July, and we didn't go until almost September. Like it was just hectic getting school started back, and we had to go back up to Nashville to finish moving, and it was a lot of stuff. So we weren't able to go back till the beginning of September. And the first sermon that we hear is a part of the sermon series, Love Where You Are. And I was like, if that's not just like, whoa, crazy. So in that moment, I'm like, I think I want to get baptized again. Like, I think I'm just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And in that same sermon series, I hear the pastor, his name's Eric, and he goes, when I first felt the call to ministry. And actually, you can go, if you go to the Orchard, Oxford, and you go under live, you could find this sermon. If I can pull up I'll put the title of it. It's Love Where You Are, but it's a specific scripture. And he says it about halfway through. It's like when I first felt my call to ministry. And I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, I wonder what that feels like. Like, I never really felt a call to do anything other than to teach. And like, that was the strongest that I've ever felt, like something that I want to do. And it's why I always am, I'm hoping that one day that I get that opportunity to teach again. And I always wanted to teach culinary, but now like I'm sitting there thinking in my head, that moment I hear that same voice, because I asked, what does that feel like? And he said this. And it's like, ever since then, it's like, whoa, like maybe I have something else that I can do, because I wasn't a fan of who I am in the kitchen, because you have to be egotistical. Though I am enjoying where I'm at right now, and I can't take that away from the frat house that I'm at right now. But yeah, that's kind of my rough story with Jesus. It's been a long drawn out journey, and now that only leads us to March of 2025. It's November of 2025 right now, and I still got things that I got to say. I mentioned it in the rebrand video. Like, I can't see it right now, but right over these computers, these screens that I'm looking at, is a crib with car seats for my daughter. Like, just the amount of just joy, like despite issues that I have with work or anything, the amount of joy that I've had since I've just accepted Jesus and followed in the path is great. And like, I'm not going to say that's the way that it's going to be for everybody. And I'm not saying that I don't still have struggles, that I don't still struggle, but just knowing that's like, God's got my back and it will be okay. Like, that really helps me out a lot. And yeah. So now that we're done with the soppy moppy, now you may understand a little bit why I'm rebranding, why rebrand it to Do It With. And that's just kind of a constant reminder to me to do it with God. Like, that's really it. Like, for a long time now, I've neglected what God has tried to tell me, and I'm hoping that with the Do It With, and starting every video, what's up guys, it's Hunter Martin, come do it with. Like, I'm hoping that actually brings me some kind of joy. Not joy, that's not the right word, some kind of solace to know like I am doing it with God. Like, that's kind of the whole point. And obviously you got it selfishly, like Do It With is a great brand name. Like, now I can be like, Do It With Me, gaming, Do It With Me podcast, like Do It With Me cooking. Like, that's literally what I called the first cooking video. that's another thing I wanted to say. Too, this is coming out on Wednesday, so tomorrow is the 24th, 25th, 26th of November. We've got our Do It With podcast. Um, Finally, here we go. I've been talking about it since I did the rebrand video, and here it is. Almost a month later. We have tomorrow. So if you're watching this on the Wednesday, tomorrow it's Thanksgiving in America, and obviously that's where I live. And we did our Thanksgiving meal at the frat. The a week from a week ago. We did it on Monday the 18th, I think, and I filmed it, and I'm gonna put that video out. And then we got a spaghetti sauce video coming out pretty soon too. I also plan on going through the old streams that I've done in the past couple of weeks, and editing them down some and putting them out as VODs. We also got a Black Ops 2 playthrough coming through. I think I'm going to do that on the original 360, which I actually have right down there. And we have a Black Ops 7. We got Black Ops 7 Zombies, and I'm hoping once I beat Black Ops 7, sorry, I know I just whoa the camera. Once I beat Black Ops 7 campaign, I do plan on doing a playthrough of it, hopefully with Scooby Kid. To also mention that we also have me and Scooby Kid do Martin Brothers Entertainment. Links to all of this stuff is down in the description. And I'm currently editing some videos for the golf, which it's a lot of golf content. We're also going to do the Incoherent podcast over there, which I think will be fun to do. But yeah, let's see. What else am I doing? I'm writing 4 books. Oh gosh, how can I even forget about that? That's what a lot of my time is being taken up with right now. So I'm writing a series of books that it's book 1s, 2, and 3. Though I'm writing book 1, 2, and a side book to that series. And then I'm also writing a book called Declassified, temporary name that might change, about John Riley, the character that I played in the They Found Me Vengeance movies. Again, links to that movie and stuff will be down in the description. But I'm currently writing a book called The Phantom of War. It's actually, I don't think you can see it, but it's actually right here. This is my manuscript for it. Ignore the AI cover. I'm actually going to draw a cover once I finish. But yeah, it's quite an extensive book. It's a lot. So it actually started originally as a backstory for John Riley, and then I wrote I don't know, a chapter, and I'm like, yeah, no, this isn't John Riley. So I've completely shifted away from that character, and I'm writing another book about John Riley, which is very grounded. See, yeah, it's picture James Bond meets Austin Powers. Those are all going to be coming. At least book 1 of The Phantom of War and Declassified, again, temporary name. The Phantom of War, that's the name of that book, and Declassified is coming, I would hope to say, within the next year. I also want to stream some editing of that, some live editing, and talk through, like, hey, what do we think this is, or how do we think this should say? And you'll also hear me. I'll be working on my accents because I'm gonna this is so stupid. I'll be working on my accents because I'm gonna do an audiobook about it. I don't even know what that accent's supposed to be. I just embarrassed myself on Twitch and YouTube because, of course, that's staying in because it's funny. But yeah, I'm trying to record an audiobook of both books. To be honest, I think that would be cool. But I'm gonna do it like a movie in your mind, and like on Audible, like how they do it. And I want to record both audiobooks. But the good thing is John Riley will be my voice, and Simon Vance will also be my voice. The issue with Simon Vance is he's 2,000 years old, so. He actually, I'll give you a little brief synopsis of it. He was Julius Caesar, got stabbed by Brutus, and disappeared with Brutus's sword in hand, and basically has become immortal. He still dies, but he's reborn every time he dies. Always with the same clothes that he has on, always holding whatever he's holding, and he's always in some kind of forest until that changes. But it's a very complex complex story that's literally spans from like the Garden of Eden to the modern day, to the creation of the universe. Like it's quite an extensive book, and it's very like, it's one of the reasons why I was like, this isn't John Riley. Like this is its own character, and there's so much lore that I'm building up that it's very intimidating. Now that I have the manuscript, it's very intimidating to go and edit that. And now each of the three books, um, the Simon Vance books are broken up into 3 acts, and I'm maybe halfway through Act 1 of Book 1. I have a Book 2 bare bones plot written just because I want to go back and edit this one so that as I'm redoing Book 2, it's like, okay, I did this in Book 1. But yeah, it's a very extensive process. That's kind of taken up quite a lot of my time here lately. Let's see, anything else? Not really, just streaming. The streams are hopefully going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, and every so often on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm not gonna stick down to Saturdays and Sundays. Those are my days off. I like to spend a lot of time with my wife, especially with a kid coming. I will say this: when the baby is here, the plan is to stream a good little bit. I'm sure I'll be up, so why not? The baby will be sleeping right next to me, and we'll just have to be quiet. We'll have to talk like this. We'll do ASMR streams. Everybody, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm super excited about the future of the channel, and like where I want to go and where I'm trying to be. And it's just, I got to get through the habit of like, just got to do it, like instead of playing games or watching a movie, you just got to do it. And like, I'm actually getting to a point where I'm doing it both. I'm watching a movie and playing and editing. Editing is my least favorite part about it, for sure. That's by far my least favorite thing to do. I do want to end this podcast with, I would normally do it with some questions, but there's nobody in the chat again. So I'm going to end this with, a snippet of something that I wrote. And I think it'll be actually pretty funny. I promise you I'm a good speaker, especially when I'm reading. So this is, I mentioned it in episode 1 of the MacCast. This is an essay that I wrote in college. I actually wrote it in 4/16/2020. So literally in the height of COVID. And it's called How to Survive the Microwave That Is Life. And it's a philosophy paper that goes off my core 3 philosophies. And Don't Be Lasagna is one of them. And this kind of explains it. And it's honestly pretty funny. And I'm going to read it for y'all. Again, y'all don't have to listen, but I just want to read it and let y'all enjoy. So, how to survive the microwave that is life. Let me tell you. Life is like a microwave. We spin around on this earth, getting hit by radiation from the sun, heating up, just ready to be taken out and enjoyed. I have 2 things that I'm going to tell you that ultimately culminate in 3 words, and those 3 words are, don't be lasagna. Now, you may be asking, what the heck does that mean? Well, I'll get to that, but for now, I have to talk about the other 2 things, because that's how a college essay is supposed to be. I have to lay out the other things because I literally just read that. I have to lay out all my points in an introduction paragraph. That's this paragraph right here, if you didn't know that. Then I can get to the meat of the essay. Well, the other 2 things actually come from a movie that I really enjoy, Zombieland. You'll realize that I love pop culture references because I have too much time on my hands, but who doesn't right now, honestly? And that's why I quote it all the time. It also helps to become more digestible and relatable. Anyway, the first rule is Rule 32. You gotta enjoy the little things. And the next rule we have to follow is Rule 52. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And with those 2 things, a bit of luck and a little bit of wordplay, I will teach you how to not be a lasagna in the microwave that is life. Whew. The first rule, Rule 32. You got to enjoy the little things. This is arguably the most important thing that I will talk about in this paper. This rule has come up a lot recently due to the COVID-19 outbreak, and I would consider this to be one of my core philosophical ideals. We have all been trapped inside, watching too many movies or playing too many video games, and we're all And we are all having to find ways to stay sane in these trying times, whether it be sitting in the car and listening to music really loud just to have a sense of normality, or taking a nice hot shower at the end of the day and performing a concert to millions of my imaginary fans. Or is that just me? Uh, Heck, I'm even finding enjoyment in writing these words. In a way, it is me talking to someone right now. Also, a way to get all these amazing jokes I've been telling to myself for the last month out into someone else's ears. But enjoying the little things is so much more than that. If it is so much more than even that, it is waking up and being thankful for a bed, for the food that we eat, for the roof over our head, for being thankful for the little things that we take for granted every day. I get to enjoy that my great grandmother, who turns 90 this year, is still out here kicking it, and that I get to go eat lunch with her every Wednesday. I've been through a dark period over the past 3 years, and my friends would always wonder how I could do it with a smile on my face. Well, it's because I enjoy the little things. Even the loss of someone very special to me, I always knew enjoy the time we spent together and enjoy the songs we would listen to. That leads me right into Rule 52. Don't be afraid to ask for help. This is something that I always struggled with. It is really something plain and simple. Ask for help. I mean, how hard can that be? Well, let me tell you. Not easy is the answer to that question. I've been through it. Kicked out of a few apartments, fallen into rabbit holes of darkness, have to swallow all my pride and ego, which for me is a big spoonful, and ask my mom if I can move back in. Or I mentioned that I had lost someone very close to me, and talking about it and asking friends to comfort me was hard, but they made me feel okay. This is one of the little things that make me understand. It's okay to ask for help, whether it be my girlfriend dying or asking for some money to cover a month's rent. People will help. This is probably the thing that I still struggle with the most. But my life is better off knowing that when I need to ask for help, someone is there to answer the call. And I mentioned it earlier. And for those of you who still may be watching, who love the look of my pretty face and my United States Marine Corps hat, um, I promise you, I've been there and I mean it. My email is in the description, chefmac1523@gmail.com. Email me. I may not see it right away, but I promise you, I'm here to listen if you need to listen. I promise. Okay. I've been there. That's kind of what this essay is about. All right, now we're at the 3 words, probably the most important 3 words in the whole paper. Don't be lasagna. Now, I put it in quotes because guess what? It's from a TV show. Now, these 3 words didn't have any meaning until I think I gave them some, but I use this quote quite often. Now, for some context, this comes from a show, Doctor Who. It's from season 8, episode titled Into the Dalek, in which the doctor and his companion, Clara, have this conversation. The doctor: you ever microwaved a lasagna without poking the film on top? Clara: it explodes. The doctor: don't be lasagna. Now, in that instance in the show, it's meaning, don't hold your breath or you're going to explode, because that's what they're talking about, being miniaturized. I've taken that just a little bit deeper. When I tell people not to be a lasagna, I mean, don't overwhelm yourself to the point of self-destruction. And in a roundabout way, don't stress. Everything will work out. Funny that I'm writing this in 2020, and now I still have that same purview, but now I'm just like, it's because God's got my back. We just have to poke the film on top. Now, in this metaphor that I've dug myself into, poking the holes is enjoying the little things, letting out steam so the pressure doesn't build up in you to the point where you be a lasagna. And that's what I'm telling you not to be if you're not listening. And when the pressure does start to build up and you feel it and letting off a little steam isn't helping, don't be afraid to ask for help. Someone out there will help you, whether it's a family member, a therapist, or if you're so inclined, a member of a church. Someone is out there to listen to your story. Again, me, I promise you. I may not respond to an email immediately, and it may take me a day because I don't check the Chef Mac email. And if you're really inclined and you really need someone to talk to, hunter.martin1523@gmail.com. That's my personal email. I promise you, I'm here to listen. To get real down and dirty real fast with you, there's one more quote that I would like to quote. It comes from the show Sherlock this time, and the quote helped me out in the dark times when my funny don't be a lasagna was failing me. I've been down the dark desert highway in a super low point, and I'm sure there will be some at another point. But the quote goes, taking your own life, interesting expressing, taking it from who? Once it's over, it's not you who will miss it. Your own death is something that happens to everyone else. Your life is not your own. Keep your hands off it. I hope that if anyone reading this or listening finding themselves in a deep, dark place where they think no one can get out of it, that they take these things that I've written down and given meaning to heart. It's a scary world out there, and I'm sorry to get so dark near the end, but these things helped me when I was in dark times, and I hope that they are able to help whoever reads this when the times get tough. The microwave that we're all in is tough. It's hard to make sense of. Those quotes have helped me. You have to enjoy the little things. Or poke holes in the film. Let out some steam. You have to ask for help when you need it. You don't want to drown in the emotions, because if you're not careful, you will be a lasagna and somebody else will have to clean up the mess. It's a little dark there. I don't remember writing that. I know I got dark here at the end, but there was no joking around. I've had people in my life crumble to the microwave, and I hope that what I have said will help you survive in this microwave that I call life. Damn, I'm such a good writer. I'm such a good writer. I'm so good. Oh, that's such a good essay. Oh, man, that's such a good essay. I'm very happy with that essay so much. And again, I wrote it when I was 20, so imagine how good my writing is now. Oh, the declassified book that I'm writing, so the Phantom of War, it's a very serious cosmic, like picture the Ether storyline in COD Zombies. That's complexity that I'm going for with that. But the declassified story that I'm writing right now, oh man, I am enjoying writing that, and it's so funny. Oh, let me read you a little section of it. I got to. One last thing, and then we'll go to some Call of Duty or something. Declassified. So it comes in chapter 2 when John Riley, he's arrested for something. Um, oh gosh, where is it? Where is it? Hold on. Let me move it over here. Um, hold on. Hold on. I know it's here. It's about donuts. Hold on. I'm almost there. I promise. I'm going to find it. So, okay. So this isn't funny. So he's being arrested. I'm trying to be very reminiscent of like Naked Gun. Um, one of the guys says John Theodore Riley, and guys like Junior. So then the other guy goes, ah, yes, Junior. He looks right at John. He says, look, we know you're a good kid. You were doing doing the nice thing, right? Come on, Robin Hood stuff. We love Robin Hood. That fox is wild. Plus, there's a great song about being an outlaw. Oh man, I've had so much fun writing this section, man, or this book. It's so funny. But there's a point where the one of the officers pulls out a half-eaten donut and slides it over slides it over the table to John, and like he goes into detail about the colored sprinkles, and the officer's like, here's a donut, John, sprinkles make everything better, and John goes, the sprinkles didn't make this better. I've enjoyed writing it. I think this is going to be something that y'all will enjoy reading, I hope. Again, go watch They Found Me, and you'll see the character John Riley, and I think I've nailed this guy. Like, so I mean, obviously I acted as him, and I think that I nailed him. Um, but the book, I think, really, you'll have to read the book to understand why the comedy is like it is, but it is. Oh, I've already wrote the epilogue, so I wrote the prologue. So it's basically a retelling of his past, and the prologue, interlude in the middle, and the epilogue are the modern day story of the book, where taking place between They Found Me, Vengeance, and the next movie, which will be the Dragon Clone. Um, but I wrote the 3 modern day sections, and I'm filling in the old stuff. Oh man, I'm enjoying writing that. Don't get me wrong, I've loved writing the Phantom of War book, but this one, man, it's so funny. Oh, I don't. It's hard going back and writing in that one because I don't want to add too much comedy to it. But man, I'm super excited. I hope that I can get those both finished relatively soon so that I can get them out for your faces. But anyway, we're coming to the end of episode 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys understand, one, my methodology behind the rebrand, understand where I'm coming from, what I'm saying that I'm wanting to do. I also hope you enjoyed this kind of live chat. I know nobody chatted except for somebody saying cheap viewers at Streambo. Nah. Um, I hope that y'all are enjoying that. I hope that y'all enjoyed that, and I can't wait to hopefully grow with y'all and do this live again. Instead of it being pre-recorded, and obviously it's pre-recorded to y'all, but I filmed it live, which I think hopefully added a little bit of energy to it, and I've enjoyed doing it. But my wife just woke up from her nap. I'm gonna go check on her, make sure she's all good, and then if she is, and she wants to what we call own thing time, then I will come back in here and stream another stream. So, anyways, peace out, guys. Be a goldfish. Don't be lasagna. Do it with